It's live boxing here on Sky Sports 1. Ryan Rhodes against Jason Matthews for the WBO World Middleweight title. Rhodes has to prove tonight that he's learned from previous failure in world class. Matthews has been given a dream opportunity tonight. So who can seize the moment? Both are big punchers. Both may be vulnerable themselves. It's an all-British world title fight we've been dreaming of. And World Championship action for the first time ever tonight from Doncaster. It's the Dome Leisure Complex. Not one of the regular big fight venues, it must be admitted, but a nice place to spend a leisurely summer evening. That's all outside, but inside it's a different story. We have a full house here tonight. Fans have had to wait a while for Rhodes to make it back into a big fight. It's come at last. Rhodes supporters here are plenty. Not far from his hometown in Sheffield, but this surely feels like a hometown crowd for Rhodes. And yes, a fight that we have been craving. Nobody more so than Barry McGuigan and Jim Watt, who are alongside me tonight. The situation briefly summarised, the WBO declaring this title vacant after Bert Schenk reported in injured on Monday of this week. In all, Rhodes was ready to fight, and he gets his chance to win a world title back, but instead it offers a wonderful opportunity to Jason Matthews. Only 5 days' notice, admittedly, but Matthews is one who is always fit, Commonwealth champion. He believes his time is now.
11 stone, 5 pounds and 3/4.
Rhodes has been in a world title fight before, of course. He'll never get a better chance than this to put the record straight.
11 stone, 5 3/4.
So we're all set to go, and in the promoter's mind, no doubt as to the validity of this world title fight.
Jason Matthews, Ryan Rhodes for the WBO middleweight title. What's the situation?
Situation is they're fighting for the WBO middleweight title.
That's definite.
That's definite, and the winner has to fight Bert Schenk.
So what's happened?
So we're all happy then. This is the issue, and it's shiny and new. And it'll either be going home with Rhodes or Matthews, who will be declared WBO World Middleweight Champion tonight. Now, leaving all of that aside, Barry, I think the best news for people in this country is this is one of the fights that people have been asking for a while, and for the fans in this country, excellent match tonight.
Without a doubt, I think this is a tremendous fight. At last we're seeing two of the best middleweights in the country pitching their skills and their abilities, and we're going to see a winner tonight. And we'll know then whether who's the best middleweight in the country. Of course, Mr. Eastman might disagree with that, and he's going to be obviously an obvious opponent for the winner here tonight, but it's certainly a tremendous fight.
Howard Eastman, the British champion, watching tonight, no doubt envious of the chance presented to Jason Matthews. But this game, Jim, you had it in your own careers. When you get the chance, when the chips fall your way, you have to take your moment, don't you?
Yes, it's a great pity for Matthews that it comes at 5 days' notice, but I think there's always been chances at the back of everyone's mind that this fight with Schenk could fall through. So I think he's known there's been a chance he's going to be fighting for a world title tonight. He'll be in the best of shape.
What about Rhodes' mentality? Will it affect him that there has been a change of opponent in the week of the fight?
No, I don't think so. I think he'll be quite happy. It's an opponent now that he knows better. I think Rhodes will be happy. And the fact also that it's a 5 days' notice thing, I think I'll give him a psychological edge.
Rhodes, a bright young thing over the last couple of years, Barry, but it's been time for Ryan Rhodes to grow up, really, hasn't it? He lost his first chance in world class, has to prove more mature than he was that time.
Yeah, well, I think he's learned from the experience, and quite honestly, he holds all the aces here tonight. He's travelled the 12-round distance a few times. Matthews hasn't done that before. He's got the power and he's got the speed, and he's got a better chin, and he's proved it in world class. So it's a great fight. It's a really exciting fight. This guy's a big, strong middleweight and will provide. Matthews is a very, very powerful, strong guy.
Jim, maybe just to take issue with, or ask you about one thing you said there. The one thing about Matthews, he is always super fit.
Yep, he's at the stage in his career where he knows chances are going to come up. He's loving the game. He's been telling us that all the top middleweights have been avoiding him, so he keeps himself in shape all the while. He knew he was going to be on the undercard anyway, so he is in shape. Okay, he hasn't known for weeks that he's boxing for a world championship, but physically he'll be in shape. Psychologically, we don't know.
Friendless, you might say, by comparison to Ryan Rhodes, as we saw there. And Rhodes, in preparation for this fight, hasn't exactly been doing things by the conventional route. Doncaster's lovely, but it's not quite as scenic as this. Rhodes and crew have been in Gran Canaria preparing for this world title opportunity. He's been enjoying himself, it seems. Let's hope he's not been enjoying himself a little too much. Johnny Nelson, part of the Sheffield stable. They've been together since they were boys, most of these fighters, now reaching the top at roughly the same time. But they are at pains to point out to us there has been some serious business thrown in along with the fun and games. I suppose you could say it was a relaxed atmosphere in training camp. But Ryan Rhodes must understand tonight that this is the best chance, almost on home territory tonight, to plunge back into the big time in world class. And if this goes wrong tonight, it's going to be a long, long way back, isn't it? Let's hope he's prepared properly. He seems to have taken a lot of risks in training, it must be said, in the build-up to a big fight. And Johnny Nelson was also forced to take the plunge.
It's going to be the telling difference for this fight coming up, for the world title fight. I think coming out here and training like I've done in this heat, it's been unbelievable.
All joking aside then, is it how to prepare for a world title fight? WBO World Cruiserweight Champion, you might have spotted there Johnny Nelson pretending to be in serious training. And he's talking to Adam Smith.
Well, Johnny, was it serious training or was it the holiday it seemed to be?
It was nowhere near a holiday. It was hard training. It was very hot, a natural heat source. You know, people saw little clips of the film, a little PR thing there, but it was serious training out there. It was excellent conditions out there at the Amphi Beach. You know, you couldn't beat it.
How focused is he?
Completely focused. He knows this is his chance to do it. And now they've switched the opponents as well. It's given him an extra beef. He was up for Bert Shank to box. Now it's a good domestic fight between him and Jason Matthews. Both guys seriously think they can do it, but personally I think Matthews did a bit too orthodox for Ryan to deal with.
You know Ryan so well. Is he mentally right?
Mentally and physically, he's so right. You know, we've been sparring round after round after round. He's been sparring with Buster Keaton as well. You know, he's been sparring naturally with bigger guys, been giving away 2 stone. He's not been sparring with anybody of his own weight. You know, big, fast guys he's been sparring with. So this will be a bit of a pushover for him, I hope.
Thanks a lot for now, Johnny.
Yes, for Hatton. Now to the top of the bill. It's our big one tonight. Ryan Rhodes bidding to become a world champion at the second time of asking. A role that Adam Smith reminds us he feels has always been his destiny.
Ryan Rhodes has always believed that one day a world title belt would be his prized property, and this WBO middleweight version has a strong connection. He failed to become its owner when Otis Grant took it back to Canada 19 months ago. Now Ryan intends to add it to his bedroom wall collection.
From 6 years old, this is what I've come to, and I'm not letting Jason Matthews or anybody out there stop me becoming world champion.
Rhodes was to have challenged unbeaten German Bert Schenk, but he pulled out with a back injury, and on Monday Commonwealth champion Jason Matthews was named as Rhodes' opponent for the vacant crown.
I've seen the world title belts and I'll be walking out with that belt.
Do you feel it's yours already?
Maybe I do feel it's mine. It's just all I've got to do is get in there and do my stuff. I've been doing it in the gym and I've been training so hard.
Rhodes has prepared for 2 months, even training in the heat of Gran Canaria. Matthews has had 5 days. He's been locked away in hiding to get mentally right and perfect the plan he always knew one day he would need.
I've been training for him all my life, you might say, but he ain't been training for me. That's why he's been for surprise. But this is a good opportunity to take, and I'm going to take it all guns blazing.
Don't worry about Jason Matthews' physical state. He's a fitness fanatic who runs at all times of day and night. And he most definitely has got a serious puncher's chance. He stopped 17 of his 20 opponents and believes Rhodes will not be able to take his power.
Ryan Rhodes hasn't fought no one who can hit as hard as me, and who's got a knockout record like me. He hasn't fought no one at all like this. So he's in for a surprise himself.
On paper, it looks a different story. While Rhodes destroyed Paul Silky Jones, Matthews was held by Jones and had to settle for a disqualification win. And perhaps more importantly, Jason Matthews lost his unbeaten record in a surprise stoppage by Lauren Szabo, a Hungarian who Rhodes then methodically took apart. The Sheffield fighter is also brimming with confidence after 2 first-round wins, but in this intriguing domestic battle, both feel it will be an early night.
I'll be too strong for him. My power punches, I think I'll stop Jason Matthews in about 4 or 5 rounds.
I'm looking to knock him out in the first round. You know what I mean? I ain't got time to really go 12 rounds. I'm looking to knock him out in the first round.
Do you think his chin is the weakness?
I would say definitely it is suspect, his chin, and we'll find out how suspect it is Saturday night.
WBO has had 1 or 2 detractors, especially over the decision-making in this week of a world title fight, but look at the true value of this middleweight WBO championship. Among the recent holders, 2 of the outstanding post-war British fighters, Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank, Chris Pyatt from Britain, and of course Steve Collins, one of Ireland's best ever. So which will it be tonight? Matthews at the age of 28 or Ryan Rhodes, 6 years younger at 22? Not much to choose between them in terms of experience, Barry. Picking up on Adam's piece there, a question really of who has absorbed the lessons along the road to this point better. What about Rhodes, first for you?
Well, I think Rhodes has, he's got more experience, he has mixed in a better calibre of opposition. He is quicker, I think, which is the most important thing, and he punches with tremendous accuracy and combination punches. He does take chances and hang his chin out. He's been down a few times, but you know, the elements that I'm going to be looking about tonight is this jab, a great rapier jab and great accuracy. Breaks the defence down each time. Even against the world champion, Otis Grant, he was able to nail him with the jab. His speed, as I talk about, blinding hand speed, and you know, really hits the target with those combination punches. Can put punches together from both orthodox and southpaw angles. His power, of course, is also a great element. He can bowl guys over with either the right or the left hand, and it comes from every angle. However, and he has great reflexes too. The reflexes are important here against Jones. He was caught a few times, and he's quick and he moves around the ring and he's elusive. But he's got to concentrate against this guy tonight because, you know, here against Otis Grant, he was nailed a lot of times by obviously a world-class fighter. But he's got to be careful because the one thing Jason Matthews can do is bang. Tremendous power.
So, Jim, what are Matthews' best chances tonight?
Well, obviously, first and foremost, he is the bigger, the natural middleweight of the 2.
Looks it there.
He's bigger, stronger, he's taller, he has a longer reach. So he must be looking to make that count. He's not so good on his back foot, so I suppose he'll be looking to back Rhodes up as often as he possibly can. He must box behind a tight defence. Power, as I say, is his main asset. He can't be looking for a long fight. Even in the pre-fight interview, he says he's looking for a quick win. He's obviously worried about the fact he's got the fight at short notice, but he has tremendous punching power. It's natural power. He has the size I've already mentioned. He has a powerful middleweight. He's always been a middleweight. And the reach. And if it comes down to a battle of the jabs, which I don't think it will, then he'd come on top. Pressure. He's a good pressure fighter, mainly because he's not so effective going back. He has to come forward. This must be a big part of his plan, that he gets his body weight coming forward. He's accurate, again, as long as he's pushing the other man back. Single punches, these punches look wide and wild, but the opponent was almost off at that time. Versatility is probably one of his weaknesses. He's a little bit predictable against Jones. What he was trying in the first round didn't work, and he continued to try that for the rest of the fight until eventually the referee slung Jones out. His defence is a little bit shaky, and he's been stopped a few times as an amateur and once as a pro, so that has to be a big worry for Matthews. So I would say he has to box behind a tight defence, push Rhodes back as often as possible and use the long punches. I wouldn't name his favourite, but a very dangerous man, and he's in with a real chance tonight.
Thank you, gentlemen. A couple more professional opinions now from Johnny Nelson once more, this time joined by Neville Brown, former British middleweight champion himself. Of course, there with Adam.
Well, Johnny, Ryan Rhodes failed in his first attempt at the world title. What must he be careful of tonight?
Tonight, you know, he's got to be very, very confident about what he's doing. It was experience that beat him the time before. Ryan's a very unorthodox, heavy-handed hitter, you know, and I think Jason Matthews has got his work cut out for him. Ryan throws punches from awkward angles, and I think Jason is just too orthodox for Ryan to deal with Ryan.
Neville, Jason Matthews is a big puncher. I know you were possibly going to meet him at some stage. What have you seen in his makeup?
Yeah, I say very strong jaw, question if he's durable. 5 rounds, we don't know. We've not seen him go past 5 or 6 rounds. But this fight, Ryan, the power, it's got to be a 5-round fight. I can't see it going past that on the grounds that both these guys can hit hard. Both of them in physically good shape. But I look at the angles, Ryan.
It could be very, very exciting, couldn't it?
It will be. It'd make an excellent domestic match, never mind a world title fight. An excellent match. You know, both guys seriously believe they can win. Jason Matthews would not have taken a fight if he didn't think he could win. It's going to be a real humdinger of a fight.
Thanks, guys.
So the consensus appears to be short, brutal, and probably spectacular. And already this week, Ryan Rhodes has been fated as something of a hero in these parts. The scene here, Doncaster races, just up the road from where we are tonight. Wednesday evening, and the 7 o'clock, which was won by Full Mount. The 11-8 joint favourite, I'm told, and Rhodes doing the honours, presenting the trophy to the winning connections. Well done to all of them, but who'll be in the winner's enclosure here tonight? Ryan Rhodes against Jason Matthews for the vacant WBO World Middleweight title. A crunch fight in the careers of both men, and it's next. Another big week of live racing for you on Sky Sports. A total of 8 meetings in the winning post, plus the Greyhound Champion Stakes, all live only on Sky Sports this coming week. Live tonight from the Doncaster Dome, it is the vacant WBO World Middleweight title fight. Ryan Rhodes from just down the road in Sheffield, his second appearance in world class. Jason Matthews, the London fighter at the age of 28, thrust into the world title opportunity at short notice, but capable and a Commonwealth champion. It could be memorable. Mike Goodall to complete the introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the main event of the evening, the WBO Middleweight Championship of the World. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome first to the ring from Hackney in London, Jason Matthews.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time coming. It's life or death for me, man. But you know,
the Doncaster Dome sold out for this fight tonight.
This is what makes me. This is what I am.
Hate the money I see, clothes that I buy, ice that I wear, clothes that I try. Close your eyes, picture me rolling, 6s, money folding, bitches, honeys that swollen, the richest, knots get in ya. Most critically acclaimed Pulitzer Prize winner, best storyteller, thug narrator, my style's greater, my motivator, big threat to a lot of you haters, commentators, ringside, try watching my paper, almost a decade, quite a.
So this is quite a night for Jason Matthews, who thought a week ago he'd simply be appearing on the undercard, marking time tonight. But what a turnaround. His phone rang 5 days ago, and now he's thrust into a fight that is being recognised for the WBO middleweight crown tonight. The 28-year-old who calls himself the Method Man. A fighter who sometimes does his training runs at 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning. A big Marvin Hagler fan, and Glenn, probably the biggest puncher that Ryan Rhodes will have fought.
Yes, I think that's the big thing in his favour, that he is a very big puncher and a natural middleweight. He's a big middleweight. And I got to account for how hard he trains. I once accompanied him on them morning runs, and we were out there long before the milkman. He really is a fanatical trainer, works very, very hard. And it's been a bit of a wait now for this title. He's got his big chance, and I'm sure he's really going to go for it.
And tonight he says he is fighting for the memory of his mother, who died prematurely in her 50s only 5 weeks ago. And that has been emotionally hard for him to deal with in the build-up to tonight. Jason Matthews from Hackney in London, who believes tonight he will leave this arena as a world champion.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the man from the Steel City of Sheffield, Ryan Rhodes!
So no doubt at all who is the home fighter here. Doncaster just down the road from Ryan Rhodes' base in Sheffield. A young man, mature beyond his 22 years. Ryan Rhodes, the father of a delightful 8-month-old baby daughter, and beaten only once in his career, and no shame in that either, because it was against the classy Canadian Otis Grant. Rhodes wasn't quite ready for that. He says he's definitely ready for this.
Well, I'm sure he's learned an awful lot from that loss to Otis Grant. He proved a lot of character in that fight. He could take a good shot. His defence was a little open, and as you said, he wasn't quite ready for it. But I'm sure his confidence will be sky high for this one.
Lincoln means rewind, a gunshot means forward. You requested it, so we rewind.
Rhodes, who's had to spend most of his career in the shadow of Prince Nassim Hamed, who until recently, of course, was the star of his gym, but Hamed has departed that particular scene, and Rhodes is one of the big stars at Winkerbank now. And if he wins tonight, Frank Warren has told him that he'll have another very lucrative 2-year, 6-fight contract. Is this the crowning night for Ryan Rhodes after what has seemed a pretty longish education, including a reign as British light middleweight champion when he won a Lonsdale belt to keep in just 90 days. Definitely starting as a big favourite here, Rhodes. It's a fight between two pretty big punchers, this. Matthews 6 years older. He's no young prospect anymore, is he? At 28. He's the taller man and he has a reach advantage, Matthews. That could be important. Naturally the bigger guy of the two, too, though they both weighed in a quarter of a pound inside the middleweight limit. Both made their debuts 4 years ago, and the records pretty similar, really, though Rhodes, I think, has mixed in the higher class of the two, particularly that fight with Otis Grant. He did a good job with Paul Silky Jones as well. Both with an 80% knockout record. Rhodes has only been the full 12 rounds once. Matthews has never yet been beyond 7. They've scored a heap of knockdowns between them. Matthews been on the floor just once, Rhodes twice, both of those on his debut against Lee Crocker. The bookmakers say this: 9-2 on Rhodes. Matthews 11-4 against. You can get the draw at 50-1. Not exactly giving it away there, are they?
Ladies and gentlemen, this contest is sanctioned and conducted under the rules of the World Boxing Organization President Francesco Valcasel. The supervisor at ringside from Chicago in the USA is Mr. Gordon Volkman, and the British Boxing Board of Control supervisor at ringside from Leeds, Judge Alan Simpson. The timekeeper, Mr. Colin Roberts from Halifax, and the judges at ringside, Mr. Luca Montella from Italy, Mr. Larry Rosadilla of California, and Mr. Mickey Van from Leeds. And the referee in charge tonight, in charge of his 9th world title fight from St. Paul's in Minnesota, United States, Mr. Mark Nelson. My lords, ladies and gentlemen, live and exclusive on Sky Sports from the Dome in Doncaster in South Yorkshire, it's big fight time! And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Frank Warren proudly presents World Championship Boxing. boxing with a contest of 12 3-minute rounds for the WBO Middleweight Championship of the World. Between and introducing the boxers, and firstly, fighting out of the red corner, he wears the red trunks trimmed with black and comes from Hackney in London. He weighed in at 11 stone, 5 3/4 pounds, and holds a 21-fight professional record. 20 wins, 17 wins by the big knockout, with 1 loss. He's the reigning Commonwealth Middleweight Champion and the former WBO Intercontinental Champion, ranked number 5 by the WBO. Presenting and introducing Hardcore, Jason the Method Man Matthews. And across the ring in the blue corner, wearing the all-white trunks and coming from the Steel City of Sheffield. He weighed in at 11 stone, 5 3/4 pounds also, and holds a 25 professional record. 19 wins, 16 wins coming by way of the big knockout, with just 1 loss. He's the former undefeated British Light Middleweight Champion, the former undefeated WBO and IBF Intercontinental Champion, and ranked number 1 by the WBO. Ladies and gentlemen, Sheffield's very own Ryan Rhodes. The referee will now give his instructions to both boxers.
Gentlemen, you've already received your instructions in the dressing room. This is for the WBO middleweight title. I expect a clean championship fight. Just obey my commands and protect yourself at all times. Obey the bell. Good luck.
12 3-minute rounds for the WBO Middleweight Championship of the World.
2 of the biggest punchers in British boxing here, and in fights like this it's often the man with the better chin who comes out on top, and once or twice Matthews' chin has looked suspect. First round then for what is now the vacant WBO Middleweight Championship. Ryan Rhodes from Sheffield in the white trunks, the red of the walk-forward pressure fighter Jason Matthews from Hackney, who gets him with a good right hand. Matthews has plenty of power. How will Rhodes cope with that? Very unorthodox in style, the switch-hitting Rhodes, but he's got good power in both hands.
Yes, also with Rhodes, he has the speed. He's the quicker puncher of the two.
Matthews going for the wild-looking right hand. Rhodes, who's trained for this in the Canary Islands and done most of his work with big cruiserweights, Johnny Nelson, world champion, and Buster Keaton. So he'll be used to taking some heavier shots. How much of a handicap will it be for Matthews, having only had 5 days to prepare for this specific opponent? But that, of course, is true of Rhodes, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. And also Matthews, he hasn't had the long stretch to really think about it, you know, so he could be a lot more relaxed, and nerves mightn't have affected him as much.
Well, it's a good left hand there from Rhodes. Driven through the gap. Matthews is talking to Rhodes over there, as if to say, well, the shot made no real impact on me. Giving away height and reach, of course, Rhodes will have to stand in range at times to land his own blows. Rhodes, of course, due to fight the German Bert Schenk, who pulled out on Monday with a back injury, and you do have to feel sorry for him in all the politicking this week that he's been stripped of his title, but that, for the moment, is another matter.
Rhodes there just seemed to be shaken up a little, went backwards and he's got caught here with some punches and he's put down. He was shaken up by one punch and then the combinations have got Ryan Rhodes in desperate trouble in this first round. And first blood to Jason Matthews. Can Rhodes take this? He's caught again, he's all over the place, his eyes are swimming, he might not get through this round. The bell comes and it couldn't come quick enough for Ryan Rhodes, who was badly at sea there.
Well, he was in desperate trouble from them punches. Well, that really was a shock, but it was the power of Matthews which told first. And Rhodes felt that power. Just coming in for the attack, a short right uppercut there, that just pushes him on the back foot. He's at sea here, tries a reflex punch, but Matthews keeps the pressure on and gets through that big hooking right hand. 2, 3 clubbing punches, and Rhodes' defences are down and sinks to the canvas.
Well, Matthews could be on the verge here of a sensational win. This is incredible stuff, really. Great right crosses from him.
Yes, they were short and sharp, hooking punches, and terrible trouble there for Rhodes.
Rhodes on the floor for the first time since his debut 4 years ago. What can he do about that? He's going to have to show some real character, but Matthews pounces and has clearly been told by his corner, go out there and put him under pressure. There's blood now from Rhodes' nose and he's caught by another right hand. And he's looking at a nightmare here, Ryan Rhodes. I don't think he's going to make it. He's going to be counted out, the towel's thrown in anyway. It is over, and Jason Matthews from nowhere has become the WBO's middleweight champion, and that certainly was not in the script. It has all gone horribly wrong for Ryan Rhodes. What a triumph that is for Jason Matthews. He's come really from obscurity to become a holder of a version of the World Championship, all in the space of 5 days.
Well, what a performance for Matthews. He's absolutely so pleased with that, almost in tears now. I think that it's just dawning on him what he's just done, but it was a terrific performance, and the power really told. Kept his hands up as he came in, and it was a matter of time till he got the big punches onto Rhodes.
Well, there were so many big plans for Ryan Rhodes.
Well, Rhodes stands, he tries to trade with Matthews here. That was maybe a big mistake. And there, a big right hand from Matthews.
Well, he does have that hands down defense based on reflexes, Ryan Rhodes, and it left him, I'm afraid, as a bit of an open target here when he stood there and tried to trade with Matthews, who already showed his power in the first round.
Well, it was a mistake. He did catch Matthews with a punch there. He obviously felt the danger and felt he had to fight back. There's the decent punch from Rhodes. Matthews comes storming back, takes that in one big right hand.
Well, it's a sensational result, and I know Jason Matthews takes some of his advice from Michael Watson, who used to train in that Crown and Manor gym where Matthews did a lot of his amateur work, and I know he'll be delighted with this result as well tonight.
He will be, and it really proves that, you know, you've got to be ready as a fighter, and opportunities come up for him. 5 days notice, and he's ready. He's in great shape to step up from a smaller fight straight into a world title fight and be ready and pull off a terrific victory.
It's a terrible setback for Ryan Rhodes, that, who comes a cropper again in a world championship fight, starting as a huge favourite though this time, and it's gone wrong for him. And a big triumph too for Bob Kipps and Johnny Kingsley, the handlers of Jason Matthews, who in the second round has won the WBO middleweight title in a sensational win over Ryan Rhodes here.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 28 seconds of round 2, Ryan Rhodes fails to beat the referee's count of 10. The winner by count out and new middleweight champion of the world, Jason Matthews. I'll now ask the supervisor, Mr. Gordon Volkman, to present the World Championship belt to Jason Matthews. Ladies and gentlemen, your appreciations, please. A very sporting loser indeed, please. Ryan Rhodes.
Extraordinary upset here, it must be said, in Doncaster. But how strange it often is in boxing. The man on an emotional roller coaster has the force with him. And Matthews tonight coming into the ring, shades of Buster Douglas against Mike Tyson perhaps, losing his mother just in the run-up to the fight. Suddenly fate turned his way, granted this opportunity unexpectedly and better prepared perhaps. Jim, your thoughts first.
Well, my thoughts are that if you're going to box without a sound defence, no matter how technically gifted you are, you'll get away with it for so long, and one of these days it's going to catch up with you, and I think that's what happened with Ryan tonight. I've got a very high opinion of Ryan Rhodes as a boxer, but you can't go in at this. This is not even the top level, this is top domestic level, although it is a world championship match. You can't, if you go into the ring, you know, time after time without a sound defence, it's going to catch you eventually. And it's, his career's in tatters now because of that. But a wonderful victory, a wonderful performance from Jason Matthews.
Barry?
Yeah, well, the one thing we said about Matthews is he was strong and robust. He was going to be dangerous early on, and Rhodes had to stay off him and try and outbox him. But he didn't. He went in there and fought him, and he in punching range with his hands down. You can't do that against a heavy-handed guy like this. And congratulations, what a tremendous win for him.
Well, here's the new champion with Ian Darke.
Well, Jason, many congratulations. It's a crowning night for you. Can you quite believe what's happened to you over the last 5 days? Because you were going to be in an undercard fight here tonight, 5 nights ago.
Yes, everything goes out to big man Frank Moore and put this on for me. I knew I could do it. He knew I could do it. He knew Ryan Rhodes can do it, but it wasn't his time tonight. You know, simple as that. This all goes out to my late mum and Dean Fisher's family. This all goes out to them.
It's just hitting you now. I think the enormity of what you've achieved in there tonight. But just get yourself together for a minute, because this is a big time for you in your career. Take your time. Just tell us, if you can, Jason, what was the story of the fight from your point of view in there?
Ryan Rhodes can hit bloody hard. I tell you that much. And he caught me, but never caught me clean. That's why I was still be able to focus. But I knew I was much too powerful for those guys. I'm natural, you know what I mean? What you see here is natural. I do my work in the morning, everything's natural. I don't take no drugs, no creatine, nothing to boost up myself. Everything's natural. When I went in there, I knew what I had to do, knock him out. I said 1 round to him, when we was on the way in, I said to him, he said, you're not making 5 rounds to go to him, I'll knock you out in 1 round. I nearly done it.
A lot of people have doubted you over the years, particularly when you got stopped by that we thought light punching Hungarian Laurent Szabo, but you've come back, and you must think here that you've proved a few people wrong.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely Barry McGuigan. He's been writing me off all the time. He's been writing me off, and look what I've done, Barry. You've got to give me credit now. You know what I mean? Ryan Rhodes was your man, now I'm your man. So you've got to give me credit. You know, but I know I can always do it. You know, it's just time, you know what I mean, to put the fight on for me, and look what I've done, you know.
Let's bring in Frank Warren here, because there's been all kinds of things going on this week. Frank, that certainly was a big sensation, wasn't it, there tonight?
Unbelievably exciting, but, you know, you can't take it away from him. You know, Jason took it at short notice. It was hard for Ryan as well, being preparing for the German guy, Schenk, but at the end of the day, you know, the better man won on the night, and that's the name of the game.
The boys upstairs have been saying that leaves Ryan Rhodes' career in shreds. What do you think?
Oh, he's only a young man. He's just turned 22. He's got plenty of time in front of him. You know, Ryan's a good guy, you know, and he'll come back, and I'll make sure that he gets an opportunity again. You know, it's a building process with him. That's what we'll do with him.
Do you think he paid the penalty? He does have this hands-down defence that one night something like that was going to happen.
Chin up in the air, he gets, you know, he fights sometimes, his chin's up in the air, and if you fight and you leave your chin exposed, you hang it out, you get clips, and that's what happened to him tonight. And this guy can punch. You know, Jason can punch. He's a good banger. He's only had 1 blip in his career. You know, he's a champion now, so he's going to fight Schenk, and then we'll see what happens down the road with Ryan. Maybe we'll get a return on. But at the moment, he's the man, and he's done it. He's done it for his mum. That's brilliant.
Yes, his mother died just a few weeks ago. I mean, yeah. to win off that kind of emotional lead up to the fight.
And he did it. But that's it. You know, one man's loss is another man's gain, and he's gone in and took the belt. That's the name of the game.
Now, just reassure us old fuddy-duddies of one thing, that this Bert Schenk, who's been stripped of the title this week, is going to get the chance to fight Jason Matthews next.
in 120 days, Schenk has to fight Jason. The winner tonight, which is Jason, has to fight Schenk. But you should know that because your man Bob Mee was at the rules meeting. He was told this.
Okay, thanks a lot, Frank. Cheers.
Well, as Frank Warren says, for every winner, there has to be a loser. And while Matthews enjoys his deserved moment, Ryan Rhodes begins a long process with the family at hand. His mother on the right of the screen there. Where did I go wrong? What did I do wrong to prepare? And where does it all go from here? When we come back, I think we should get one or two responses from Barry and Jim to points raised at ringside. And we'll also bring you the action involving the former British middleweight champion, Neville Brown, still a force, and he was in action earlier tonight. Jason Matthews is the new WBO World Middleweight title holder. A big upset here in Doncaster tonight. A spectacular short fight. And Ryan Rhodes knocked out in 2 rounds. And he wishes it to be known, Barry, that he is now your man. Jason Matthews is your man. Comments, please?
These boxers are so sensitive, you know, pointing out the obvious.
They don't look sensitive when they're in there, I have to say.
Yeah, he's very sensitive to criticism and pointing out the obvious. He's got a weak chin, and believe me, it will come back to haunt him in the future. But tonight was his night. He was brilliant tonight, and he landed that right hand. We said, as we did in the beginning, you know, that Rhodes can't afford to trade with the guy in punching range with his hands on, which was always going to be a possibility. He did, and look what happened.
He seized his opportunity, Jim. You must say that for him. Did he appear to you to be the man dominating proceedings for as long as they lasted, or was it really whoever connects first and it's over?
No, I think Matthews was the one with the quick plan, the 4-round plan. I think they've taken the fight at short notice. They've known if the fight reaches the middle stages, they're going to be struggling. They didn't want the fight to reach the middle stages. And I will also say, Barry, I mean, I've mentioned his chin as well. He took a few smacks on the chin before he delivered his own stuff. So he's proved a few things tonight, Jason Matthews. He took some of, when Rhodes come back at him at the beginning of the second round, he took a few hefty shots himself, come right through them and landed better. So best of luck to the guy. Feel sorry for Ryan Rhodes. At the age of 22, he's lost 2 world title attempts. A lot of people will say, what is the hurry? You know, at 22 you've lost 2. The last time I think it did him a lot of good when he lost to Otis Grant. I think his credibility rose, but tonight was a shattering defeat. They're going to have to bring him back from that. That's a difficult job.
That was a breathless opening round, wasn't it?
It was, and again, you know, Rhodes had the wrong ploy completely. He went out and tried to trade with the guy. He shouldn't have done that. He should have kept his hands up, should have kept a bit of distance, and try to keep keep space between them. Instead, he left his hands down and he got nailed with that right hook. That's a full blood. This guy's a heavy clubbing puncher. He doesn't throw really neat, accurate punches, but his hands are very heavy. Look at the sides of him. He's fantastically muscular. And again, we see it. Just throw his weight right behind it. Just whack that weight in. I mean, Otis Grant couldn't do it.
Where's the defence, Barry? Exactly. When you need a defence, where is it? Hasn't got one.
You know, we've criticised Brendan Ingle in the past, and we say that style maybe suits someone who's an exceptional talent like Nassim Hamed or the likes of Bomber Graham and even Johnny Nelson, but you can't afford to fight that way when you're right on top of a heavy-handed guy like Matthews. Now Matthews, of course, did take shots, Jim, but he didn't take any full-blooded shots. He even admitted that himself afterwards. The shots didn't hit him clean, but when he hit himself, when he landed, every punch he landed was really solid and powerful.
And you can see all the way through, Matthews was the one who really meant business. He had no intentions of this being a long night's work, one way or the other. He was going to get everything he had in the first few rounds, and it paid off for him handsomely.
Believe me, I'm absolutely delighted for the kid. You know, we're supposed to be indifferent in here, impartial, and that's what we are. And I'm delighted for the kids, especially in light of what's happened to him recently with the death of his mother. I'm delighted for him, I really am.
Jim, your chance to reply now. In fact, what you did say, I think I'm right. You said Ryan Rhodes' career was in tatters, not anything else. But Frank Warren took exception to that.
Yeah, well, maybe it's a slight exaggeration. I know he is young, but as I say, he's lost 2 World Championship contests at the age of 22. They can't basically change his style, but they're going to have to go back to the drawing board and start tightening up a lot of things. They're going to have a different approach. And tonight's was a shattering defeat against a man. He must have been so confident he was going to be champion tonight, and he must be shattered.
Thoughts of Johnny Nelson and Neville Brown now with Adam Smith?
Well, Johnny, a devastating night, obviously, for you. Ryan just fought the wrong fight, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm in complete shock. You know, it made it a two-even fight. They both went out there teeing off on each other. Ryan just had to do his own thing, stick to his game plan, but he really fancied the job. And I'd have put my house on it. You know, I'm so shocked, it's unbelievable. But, you know, two big punches out there. I've got to swallow humble pie and say Jason Matthews did it. You know, no disrespect to him at all, he did a good job. But Ryan, you know, if he'd have stuck to his game plan, gone out there, boxed him, took him to pieces in about 4 or 5 rounds. But, you know, he started teeing off on each other, and that's what he wanted to do.
Neville, you went for Ryan as well. Jason Matthews just had so much power, didn't he?
You cannot give a puncher a chance like that. The strategy in this fight would have been to go 5 or 6 rounds, fiddle about, play about, then take him out. Ryan is strong in 10 and 12 rounds. To go in the first round and swap exchanges like they did, that wasn't going past. I said to Johnny in the round 2, this ain't going 3 rounds. There's no way. They're too powerful. Yeah. An excellent fight for the crowd, excellent fight, but any man could have gone. Before Ryan got hit, he almost had Jason out. A hell of a fight, and I hope they get back on their feet, both of them. It's just amazing. Having heard about Jason's mother and everybody else, what a present.
Thanks very much, guys.
So much for the winner. What about the loser, Ryan Rhodes, back there with Ian Darke?
Ryan, it's very good of you to agree to talk in what are obviously difficult circumstances for you. Just tell us from your point of view what went wrong in there tonight.
Looking back, I just thought I thought all I had to do was go in there, do my stuff what I normally do, and I thought everything would just roll off naturally. But you get caught in this game. He's a big middleweight, and if he catches any middleweight out there, they're going to go. I just got caught.
If you had the chance to do it again, what would you do differently?
Probably boxing more. I think I tried pressuring him too much. I tried catching him with some big shots. I caught him with a good body shot, as Dominic told me to unload on his body. Caught him with a good body shot, and he just caught me. It happens in boxing. All I've got to do now is get back in gym and get back training.
This must be absolutely heartbreaking for you. It was supposed to be your crowning night and everything.
It happens in boxing. All you got to do is get back in the gym, get training, get back on the drawing board, and I'll come back. I'm only 22 years old. I'll be back.
I suppose people who watched Sky and saw all those pictures of your preparations out in the Canary Islands with you jumping off piers and all that sort of thing will say, oh, was the preparation right? Or were we getting a misleading impression from all that?
It was done properly. It was done absolutely properly. We had like a few hours in the day spare, and that's when the cameras caught most of the good action or whatever. But no, the preparation in Gran Canaria was done properly. We trained really hard out there. We was up 5 o'clock in the morning running, training back at 8 o'clock. We were training in the hot heat at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The preparation was done properly. It's just what happens in boxing. I got caught.
Is Matthews a better fighter than we all thought?
He's a big middleweight. I mean, if you look at his top half, it's like more or less twice the big as mine. He's a big punching middleweight.
He surprised you with that power?
Not really, because I know he's knocked out most of his opponents anyway, so it hasn't surprised me whatsoever. But I just got caught me a good body shot. I went in for the kill and I got caught.
There's no thought in your mind at this stage, I mean, you're only 22, of walking away from all this?
No way. I'm going to become world champion if it's the last thing I do.
You're an amazingly positive guy. You took it so well the first time, and so soon after that, you're speaking like this.
I'm telling you, I'm going to be back. I'm going to get back in the gym. I'm going to have a few days off. Naturally, I'm going to have a few days off, and then I'm going to get back in that gym, get training, just get back to the drawing board and do everything properly.
Commiserations tonight. Thanks for talking to us. Cheers.
Well done, Ryan Rhodes. Not easy to be that honest in public so soon after what must be a shattering defeat. Let's hope he does come back, and better than before.